is how it treats its women and girls. It's women and girls. We create the smart, powerful, creative, accomplished young women. We can fight. I'm here because of you. I'm here because girls like you inspire me. Many of these girls have faced unthinkable obstacles just to attend school. Of any society is how it treats its women and girls. One stand still. Your story is my story. Your story is my story.
Buckle up, buttercups. Excuse me. It's another episode of Surly Voices here on WMNF Tampa 88.5. My name is Liz. I'm one of your hosts. Joining me from where in the world are you today, Maria?
Finally home.
Finally home. Yay. Okay. So today we're going to do a little something different. And we tossed around a bunch of names for this program. And I think we settled on Star Wars, real life. And it's Galactic Empire versus Rebel Alliance. And I'll give you an example of how this works. Trump ran on the promise that as soon as he was reelected, he would release the Epstein files. And so we still to this day have not seen the Epstein files. So that's the Galactic Empire, the Rebel Alliance. There were a group of Epstein survivors, women now who were girls, young teenagers, back in Epstein times, who got dragged into the sex trade by Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein. They gave a press conference yesterday, coincidentally, at the same time the military did a flyover down D.C. way, and it was like, wait, how did these two? This was not an accident. However, they waited for the planes to pass over, and then they resumed speaking. So that's an example of Galactic Empire versus Rebel Alliance. Did you see the press conference at all, Maria?
Yeah. Did you notice that too with the planes and the flyover?
It's like, wait, this is.
It didn't just happen once. It happened at least 3 times where it interrupted. I mean, they're flying low enough to interrupt.
Right.
And the press conference.
And the excuse.
Which is in itself is curious, right?
Yeah.
Like,
because I thought that airspace was restricted and nobody could fly in it, but apparently not.
But I mean, it's like the opposite of dispelling a conspiracy theorist. You know what I mean? Like, just why are you making it even worse than it already is for you?
Yeah.
Right? Like you already have people ticked off, and like the more you obfuscate, the more people are going to double down on this. And then you do like a flyover, like you're not disabusing anyone of their conspiracy theory notions at this point.
Exactly. And yeah, it's like the excuse that the White House gave was, I think it was the Polish president was visiting and they were honoring one of the fallen Polish pilots. But come on.
Really? Timing is everything.
Right. I mean, you know everything that's going on in Washington. I guarantee you that was a flimsy cover story for trying to drown out the survivors. If you want to give us a call, 813-239-9663, or you can email to dj@wmnf.org. So yeah, and now the survivors are talking about, okay, if he's not going to release the files, we'll go ahead and tell you everybody we saw there. And you have to think that these ladies are all under some kind of non-disclosure agreement. So there will be penalties for that. So I see a big, huge GoFundMe coming along, but it was very, very obvious to anybody, watching what was going on. Another thing, Galactic Empire, Trump putting troops in all the quote unquote liberal cities. He and Gavin Newsom have been tangling for a while now. And before anybody starts coming and gushing about Gavin Newsom and, our next presidential candidate, I don't want to hear that. Gavin Newsom is hardly, and I don't want to hear about purity tests either. Gavin Newsom is not a friend to the homeless. He is also he wasn't overly well liked in California until here lately, now that he's trolling Trump in Trump's milieu, which is the internet. So yeah, Trump is targeting liberal cities. And so he's talking about Chicago now. And so the Michigan governor stood up and said, no, you are not coming to Chicago. We don't need you in Chicago. I will take every means necessary to keep you out of Chicago. So I would consider the governor part of the Rebel Alliance. And I hadn't really heard much about this governor before, but man, he stepped up big time, and not in the look at me fashion that Newsom does. He just flat out came and held his own little press conference and said, no, you're not coming here.
Chicago style.
Hey, Donna, how are you?
Good. Y'all, I'm typical Chicago style, J.B. Pritzker.
Yes. So, yeah, tell us about Pritzker, Donna, because I haven't heard much of him until here recently.
I don't know a lot about him. I just know that he's a no-nonsense guy. He's not without his warts. He's not without his warts, is any American politician.
Right.
Right. But he's from California.
Is he?
He's from California. He has ties to Indiana as well. He went to Duke University. He came from a wealthy family that owns the Hyatt hotel chain.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he's Hyatt money. Like, remember John Kerry and Heinz? Yeah. So he is a managing partner of Group Private Capital, which is a startup, venture capital startup. So he's got his finger in all types of pies, right?
Yeah, I don't like that, but okay.
Yeah, so like I said, he's not without his warts, right?
Yes.
But he is taking a very no-nonsense, direct, flat-footed approach without any of the flourishes or PR team superstars that Newsom has.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens, because Trump is clearly not well. It seems to me like the administration, J.D. Vance in particular, is I said the administration first, circling the wagons. And but to me,
I thought you were going to say the buzzards are circling.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for that too. When I heard circling, I'm like, yeah, vultures, buzzards.
After all of the pictures that were posted, this boy came back looking strong.
Tightened up that eyeliner, right?
No, and not him.
Trump.
Trump.
Yeah. He's like, oh, you thought I was dead? Here, I'm back.
Yeah, and I look great. Look at my makeup.
Yeah. He doesn't look great. He does not look well, but he's at least back out in the public eye to where people can't, speculate and gossip about it anymore.
I'll never forget Maria said about 2 months ago, she said, have you seen Trump lately? And I said, no. She said, you should really go take a look at some pictures. And she said she thought he looked like he was being put on the juice IV every night to keep him going. Immediately when he said his last word of the day, they hooked him up to the juice, which might be the reason why he had a bruise on the back of his hand, to keep him holding on.
Be like Michael Jackson and get a hold of a doctor who doesn't know what he's doing, and then we're all he's in trouble.
Like he's rotting from the inside.
It does. It really does.
Been saying that, Maria has. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that group is, if anybody is gonna get a doctor that doesn't know what he's doing, a super quack, it would be these guys.
Well, yeah, because
it's gonna be Florida's Surgeon General that flies in.
Yeah.
That was the actual image I had in mind when I
right?
That's exactly what I thought of when you said it.
The one who does not believe we should be vaccinated.
That's coming up next. But let's talk to some folks who are holding on the phone. We have.
Wait, let me just say this one thing. Don't
okay.
you secretly wonder if DeSantis is vaccinating his kids low key?
I don't have any doubt that he is.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you have to think his
Vaccines
wife...
for me and not for thee.
Yeah. His wife had breast cancer, and there's always the chance of recurrence. So why are you going to leave your kids vulnerable to these preventable diseases and risk your wife's immune system?
And I'm sorry, callers, but I got to say this. Remember when Donald Trump was getting vaccinated at Walter Reed while he was telling the world to use medicine, ivermectin? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of those situations.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk to Art in Lakeland. Hi, Art.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
One quick question.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, why in the world is she standing next to all these Epstein victims?
She
is like the hugest sycophant for Trump.
I know. And
it just shocked me like no end.
that is the surprise of the month right there.
I know she's MAGA, but
that's a good question. Yeah. Why?
Her whole life rests on what Donald says.
Right. And it's been a very interesting story to come out because she maybe, after all of her butt kissing in the prior administration up to date, maybe she just got tired of it because it didn't really get her anything. She didn't get a cabinet appointment, so it may be that she's just dropped that pretense and is just, I'll just do my own thing then.
She probably started off.
Oh, wait.
What was that?
Maria first, then Donna.
Maybe she actually saw those buzzards circling and she realized that, that gravy train is just pulling into the station. She better go find another shtick.
That's what I was thinking.
Exactly. Donna, what was your comment?
Well, there's not that much distance between the edges of the furthest left, right? And the far right. Horseshoe theory, which all of the Marxists say does not exist, but it does. And I think that, and not that I am still not more socialist than anything else. I'm talking about the outer reaches, right? The far limits. And I think there isn't much difference there. I think she was sour grapes from the administration appointment, to Liz's point, started out doing some research to prove herself, to prove them wrong as part of her sour grapes mission, and started learning stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be a surprise.
Started learning stuff. I don't think that she wasn't smart. I think that she was choosing, like a lot of these MAGA folks, they have standard educations. People went to Duke, they went to Harvard. They're doing this stuff because they just want all the toys.
Yes.
And so they know, and this is why we're secretly being vaccinated, right? Because Trump was getting a briefing on all the people who were being ventilated on their faces, right, in these hospitals, and how many bodies were in the refrigerated trucks for real, right? Like it's a Trina thing. We know a lot of people died.
Have a great day, guys.
Thank you so much, Art. Okay, let's talk to John in Port Richey. Hi, John.
Hey, thanks for the show. About the troops in D.C., I just have an observation and maybe a question. So, what was I thinking? So, during January 6th, when that whole thing happened, the conservative media was saying that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and all the Democrats, or not all the Democrats, but mainly Nancy Pelosi, was stopping the troops from being deployed from D.C.
Right.
That she didn't call them out. So my question is, if she really has that power, why doesn't she stop them now? Or is it just that the conservative media was lying to their base, saying she did have the power to cover up for Trump's inadequacy of calling out the troops? But maybe the conservative members of the audience can answer that question for me. Thank you.
Thank you, John. To my knowledge, the only one who could have activated the troops was Trump, unless Pence had bumped them aside and said, okay, he's clearly, not fit, so I'm taking charge here and doing it. I don't think Nancy Pelosi ever had the ability to call out the troops. Donna, what do you?
Yeah. I agree. That's all.
Okay, Mary in Clearwater. Hi, Mary.
Oh, thanks for taking my call. I love your show.
Oh, thank you.
May I share a little bit of what I know about Governor Pritzker?
Oh, yes, sure.
Please.
Okay, well, I live in Florida, but I'm from Chicago, and I happen to know that, he came from the Hyatt family, but his dad died very young. His mother died shortly after of alcoholism, and he and his sister stayed real tight. Their uncle took him in, and he and his sister are still tight. He has a good family, a wife forever, kids, and he's Jewish, and he seems to be a real philanthropist, and he really just seems to have the people's mission at heart. So just wanted to share that.
Well, thanks for telling us about that, Mary.
Yeah, it makes me hopeful. I wish we had a guy like him in Florida, but we don't. But maybe there's hope.
Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
All right.
So much.
Bye-bye. Now, so that's a good little segue into the next Galactic Empire person, who is Ron DeSantis. Some people call him Ron DeSatan. There's all kinds of nicknames for him. Governor Go-Go Boots that Maria made up. That is my favorite. Governor Go-Go Boots appointed a Harvard-educated internal medicine physician, Dr. Legato. Dr. Legato has had too much of the Q laid, as in QAnon, and is as big an anti-vaxxer as Robert Kennedy. And so Governor Legato, with some very inflammatory language that I want to discuss with Maria and Donna, Dr. Legato said that vaccine mandates are dripping with slavery. It's something about dripping with and slavery. I'll figure out exactly what he said. But anyway, he likened vaccine mandates to slavery. And now, to be clear, for those of you who don't know, Dr. Legato is a black man. So, Donna and Maria, how is it that he's using such inflammatory, just outrageous language like that and getting away with it? Anyone can have the question. Maria?
I'm going to say my one sentence first, because I'm not qualified to assess why this doctor is doing that. And I think it's more is qualified to say that. I think what everybody else thinks. Maria.
You think what everybody else thinks?
Yes, I do.
I think there's a couple of things that are coming up for me. Number one is this rhetoric around and the hypocrisy around my body, my choice
Thank you.
It comes to vaccines. But then when it comes to women's health care, we don't have a choice, right?
Right.
I'm fascinated by that hypocrisy. The other thing that comes up for me is this not just the oath, but your license to practice medicine is based upon first do no harm, right? And then a standard of care, right? There is a standard of care that the public should feel entitled to. And I don't know what happened to that. What happened to the standard of care?
Exactly. And so,
because I'm thinking the average physician on the street, what makes him any different than that kid who pretended that in Palm Beach County, this was 10 years ago, this kid who pretended to be a physician, right? How is his medical advice any more sound than that teenager that impersonated a doctor, right? What is and I don't care where you went to medical school, at some point you have to be of sound mind and judgment.
Right.
Right. And what's happening?
It flies in the face of everything we know about vaccinations, about childhood illnesses that were almost eradicated until the anti-vaxxing started. And so I was astonished when I heard this at first. So the first thing I did was I went to the Florida Department of Medicine Quality Assurance and looked up his license, because I'm like, hey, no way this dude is licensed to practice medicine. And yet he is. So the outcry has been far and wide, far more than anybody's ever talked about vaccinations before. Because you think of it this way, I mean, childhood vaccinations don't last forever. So as adults, you need to get boosters. My concern is that we're going to be exposed, adults now are going to be exposed to children who have not been vaccinated. And the adults have left the vaccines behind a million years ago because they haven't gotten boosters. And so now are we going to have people middle-aged and older getting measles and stuff because they were vaccinated, but the vaccines eventually wore off? That's my concern. Another concern is, what about the children who are immunocompromised? What about, it's the most outrageous thing I've heard in a long time. And to be clear, I have some bias there. I come from a family of healthcare providers, and I'm a healthcare provider myself. And it's wait, no way they're going to do this. And there's actually a statute that requires vaccinations. So it's going to be interesting to see how they plan to put this nefarious plan into effect. Donna, Maria, any comments on the vaccines before we go?
I just have a comment. I will not be one of those middle-aged people that is unvaccinated. I am running to get my boosters before I leave Minnesota.
Okay. I'm going to be looking for a health department today to go and get boosted on everything so that I don't fall victim to the Satan's horrible plan. And
you can go online and do it at CVS or Walgreens.
Okay.
They won't do more than a few at a time, but it's easy because they're everywhere, right? You don't have to make an appointment, so you just schedule them, 2 or 3 at a time, and I'm going to have them all, and because people are sliding backwards into the Middle Ages, right? We're out here eating poppy flowers, you know, and taking a horse tranquilizer. And this makes no sense at a time when we're about to have like generalized AI that's recursive.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't go recursive AI and people taking horse medications don't go in the same frame, which tells you that something is amiss.
Right.
I'm also worried about us overrunning, and I apologize because I am, speaking of animals, this house I've had them deep clean it, and it's filled with dog hair, and I cannot abide it, right? So this is my situation. So anyway, so I'm in the bed saying
yes,
things.
she's for those of you who haven't checked our YouTube channel, Surly Voices at Surly Voices, you'll be able to see clips of Donna laying in bed with her bonnet on and her t-shirt. So
this is all I can do, right? With the WMNF t-shirt, I did get up and put this on, right? Show you that I care. But let me tell you guys, I'm concerned about people getting these diseases that have been eradicated. The healthcare grid as it exists took serious hit post-COVID. A lot of people just said, I need a new career. Mm-hmm. And we're about to have wait for it, nursing shortage in a few years. In some places we already do because people took their leave. And now I'm concerned that the healthcare grid will be overrun by people who have diseases, and I must say it every time I say this, that have been eradicated, at the risk of redundancy and boring you, because that's important. We don't expect to have people that have diabetes not getting treatment because the treatment doesn't exist. There are all sorts of modalities of treatments. There are dialysis centers standing free of hospitals in every city and town. So we're situated with these diseases, these childhood diseases that have been eradicated. We're situated in a way that we don't have. We can't. The grid cannot withstand 1 million people being ill with the childhood disease.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right? That's going to push. And then if they're children, because children in classrooms not washing their hands, particularly younger children, that could just be a wildfire. And that's going to bump someone like me that may be getting cancer care out of the space.
Right.
Because they're going to prioritize the children as they should. And that upsets me because I like to live a long life.
Exactly. And so, excuse me. And so RFK, all right, so we talked about the galactic empire. So now the Rebel Alliance, the CDC is leaking senior officials left and right because they refuse to follow RFK's horrible non-scientific advice. Mm-hmm. And also now HHS gathered 1,000 signatures from its middle management and up to call on him to resign for the same reason. You're taking decades and decades of research and just dumping it in the toilet, more or less, and telling us that it's fine and it was all a fairy tale to start with. And that brings me to Chris in Clearwater, who is, I'm sure, so excited because we finally got in his wheelhouse. All right. We're going to have some
months and months.
All right, Chris, before I let you on, let's lay some ground rules. Number one, we're not mentioning products. Number two, we are, if you give me a citation to some study, I want it to be in a peer-reviewed journal. All right, now, let's talk to Chris in Clearwater. Hi, Chris.
Hi. Good morning.
You must have thought it was like your birthday when you heard this, right?
Oh, no, I had a sense it was coming.
Oh.
I pay attention to the news, too. I've kept up on it a couple days ago, so... And by the way, it's Dr. Ladapo, not Legato, Florida Surgeon General Dr. Joseph Ladapo, Ladapo.
LADAPO. What have you heard of this guy before, Chris?
I don't know. I'm very impressed by him. I will say that, fortunately, I did have. I'm not light on the DeSantis administration. So, fortunately, when Dr. Ladapo was on the Robert Scott Bell show, I got a chance to ask him about what he thinks about DeSantis approving radioactive waste being allowed to be used in Florida's roadways. And he said he hadn't heard about that, but he hasn't got back to say what he has to think about that. But that's my only criticism at this point.
Well, thanks for correcting me on that name, Chris, because I am turning dyslexic in my old age.
Sure, and I wanted to remind you, you mentioned Voltaire quotes that I'm not sure if you know it was from Voltaire, but you complimented the caller who mentioned that when you find who you're not allowed to criticize, then you'll know who rules you, to paraphrase, and you very much were excited to hear that quote. So with that, I wanted to mention that the criticism I have of vaccines is that people aren't checking the antibody titer test to see if they're actually stimulating antibodies, because you can find studies for various vaccines that show that not everybody has an antibody reaction. So because we know that vaccines are not safe, the Supreme Court case called Brusewitz versus Wyeth, which is a pharmaceutical company Wyeth was bought by Eli Lilly. They ruled that vaccines are unavoidably unsafe. So we should do something like homeopathic or check into homeopathic nosodes that are risk-free as far as I can tell. And of course, they don't always stimulate an antibody response, but we know that children have different genetic predispositions based on genes like MTHFR that dictate how well they can detoxify, and there are adjuvants in vaccines like aluminum and still mercury, thimerosal, that
I think they stopped using thimerosal years ago.
Well, it's in the current, this year's current flu zone, also flu mist, if you take it through your nasal inhaled. Thimerosal is still listed there, and it's in the multi-dose vaccines, but I'll send you some information. I'll email you.
Okay.
Some information.
Yeah, but kids aren't taking nasal flu vaccine. So kids are taking MMR, they're taking the DPT, they're taking the hepatitis, but they're not doing nasal flu stuff. No. And
just one example.
Yeah. Before
None of the vaccines on the CDC recommended schedule for children were licensed by the FDA based on long-term placebo-controlled trials. They don't use placebos, they use comparators, which are other vaccines, which is incestuous and conflicted. So that's a reason that a lot of people don't trust them, and they've never been tested in conjunction with each other. And I think that, because your body is your ultimate property, and you have a choice, that I think that we should not have to give a reason for an exemption to attend school, like a medical exemption or religious exemption, which the Supreme Court also allows a firmly held religious belief for. And I think we should just be able to say no. I mean, or at least give a scientific exemption so we can explain, well, these are the risks, and I'm not ready to take these risks. And maybe is a benefit in some cases, in some diseases, to natural immunity that lasts almost a lifetime or much longer than vaccine.
All right. Immunity. Thanks so much for calling, Chris. I got other callers on the line, so talk to you later.
Well, just because you mentioned that vaccination immunity doesn't last forever, that's the dependency that pharma has caused.
Okay.
And,
got it. All right. Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye. All right, let's go to Jack in Dover. Thanks for holding, Jack.
You're welcome. Hi, Donna. Hi, Armenia.
Hey, Jack.
How's everybody?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Of course, I have a big wish. My wish list keeps growing, but I just wish that if we're going to use our troops, why can't we send them to Kansas City where the people are all flooded and, all these other areas that really could use some help instead of inventing a problem that doesn't exist and wasting money?
Right. And you see photos of the troops that are in D.C. They're not, guarding things or keeping order. They're raking leaves and putting down mulch, so.
Yeah.
It's all theater for Trump. It's, oh, yes, I'm going to send, the D.C. The way he was talking, it was like D.C. was in chaos and turmoil all the time. And everybody in D.C. is like, what? No, they're not.
Well, in California, the homeless people, though, that's the thing that I know it would be just too much to imagine to have the military, the National Guard set up a medical tent to, give those people vaccinations and maybe set up some food areas and, I don't know, some porta potties, do something helpful.
Right.
But then that's going to make the governor look bad. And I don't want him to feel like, he's obligated to do any more than he's probably already trying to do. The fact that he's a Jewish person, I only have a handful of friends that are Jewish, but they have this cool little bank. It's called the Pushka Bank. And they put money in that all year long in case somebody comes to their house that needs a meal, because Jewish people will not turn anyone away that needs a meal. And I just thought I would throw that in there. It's really kind of cool.
Thanks so much, Jack.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye. So I did not realize that Newsom was Jewish, but I do know that he is not a friend of the houseless, and he's actually done photo ops where he's helping tear down little tent cities. So anyway, but I like the idea of the pushka. So so let's revisit Chris's point. Yeah, I agree. Vaccines are not 100% safe. No medicine is 100% safe. Aspirin can kill you. Tylenol certainly can kill you. So to see vaccines as in a different class than regular medicine you can buy over the counter, I think is not the way to go with it. Donna, any thoughts on that?
Aside from the fact of me getting all the vaccines.
Yeah. That's why I picked you. I don't know what Maria's vaccination status is.
You know what? I feel like this is another of those things that's being cooked up above our heads to bring chaos out of order.
Exactly.
Like, we already had this. It's not like we're experimenting with vaccines.
Right.
We know what the number, this is pretty basic stuff. We know what the numbers are of children that didn't make it to adulthood because of childhood diseases. We know what the supposed numbers are of children that are impacted adversely. Like Liz said, there are no guarantees. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the numbers of children, and I'm going to get specific with this if we have this discussion again, because I was not prepared for this because look at my situation.
Yeah.
But if the numbers of children in any way compares to the number of children that are adversely impacted by a vaccine, then yes, by all means, take them all away. But that is simply not the case.
Exactly.
And we've tried this thing in the public for decades. And I believe that now it's an idea that's found its time, because the world is upside down and people who know better, along with people who don't, are taking advantage of the public good.
Yes, absolutely.
Public trust in people that hold certain positions is being horribly taken advantage of.
Oh, it's downright squashed flat and eroded like nothing you ever seen. I will never trust anything that anybody who's in politics ever says again, because it's like, well, you see, Trump is, when Trump is the biggest example, what are you going to do? I
think we have to ask ourselves, what's the end game here? Right? Like, one of the things that I've noticed with all of this, to Donna's point about chaos, right? The chaos is by design.
Yes.
Control.
It is.
Right? It's controlling people through chaos, right? And chaos being fear, right? creating this fear or unpredictability that in turn can control people, right? Like if the rhetoric around Chicago and Baltimore and DC is all the same. They're all a disaster. They're all of this. They're all of that. It's like it's all the same rhetoric. And it can't possibly be true because it's just repetitive.
Exactly. And now he's talking about sending troops to New Orleans, and I'm like, oh man.
So we have to be mature enough to ask the questions about where are we headed with this, right? Because to me, it's like it's never designed to solve a problem or to talk about the price of eggs or gas or even to address immigration.
Yeah.
Right. Well, like all of it is designed to foment a problem that doesn't really exist. That included immigration at one point. It still does.
Right.
But I mean, there was a bill to pass to solve a problem. But the reality of it is like here we are in this space where we don't want to solve any problems. We don't want to address any of that stuff. We're just using these things to create this rhetoric to justify the existence of this decaying, old, rotting corpse in front of us.
Right. You're listening to Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5. You can give us a call at 813-239-9663, or you can email to dj@wmnf.org. We're getting toward the home stretch now, so if you're going to call, do it now, because at 5 till, we're going to stop taking calls. Let's see. Here's Dave in Lakeland. Let's see what Dave has to say. Hi, Dave.
Hey.
What's up?
You know, I was thinking this whole thing about let's not give anybody a vaccine. Just think how much money the pharmaceutical companies and the healthcare industry is going to make from all the new people that are sick.
Yeah, you're right. And yeah, it's, and hopefully the hospitals can keep up with the demand, because all these measly kids are going to be running around, and measly adults, because our immunity is worn off. Yeah.
They've got a lot of lobbyists up there in Washington, and they got a lot of stockholders that are really going to love this new law.
Yep. Oh, I see it. Hadn't thought about that, Dave, but I should have, because it's like, okay, let's follow the money. Who's going to make money off of this? And you're absolutely right.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So, yeah, it's who benefits? Who benefits? That's the question. So let's read some messages, emails, and texts. Let's see. Why is no one asking Trump about his health care plan? It's been almost 10 years. Ernie B. from Dunedin. Let's see. Trump's just stolen a page out of Ron DeFascist's playbook from when he surrounded himself with local sheriffs in Tampa, all lying through their teeth and crime being up, while he illegally and unconstitutionally removed Andrew Warren from his duly elected position. Amen, Charles. Let's see. Tell that stuff to explain your point to a parent of a child who got autism from the MMR in the early 2000s. That claim, whoever sent this, that claim has been disputed. Let's see. Really, how about how Israel is starving Palestinians? Yes, that was going to be my next go-to in the Galactic Empire versus Rebel Alliance. As the genocide continues in Palestine now, there is a huge flotilla traveling to try to bring food, water, everything essential to the Palestinians. And now the Italian dock workers have gotten in on it and are like, if y'all mess with this flotilla, you will not see a thing come out of this port. What do you think about that, Maria? Oh, you're on mute.
What do I think about it?
Yeah.
I think that it's about time, and I'm afraid that it's probably too late.
Yeah.
That a lot of this could have been avoided. But could it have been based on our politics? I'm seeing a lot of really interesting things now with respect to there being more voice around this rejection of this fealty to Netanyahu, and regardless of whatever decisions that are made by the Israeli government. And I'm glad to finally see it happen. But like I said, I'm afraid that it's a little too late. You know, and history will judge us on this moment.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to hear another person tell me that it's complicated, because it's not complicated. The assassination of children trying to get food by IDF soldiers is not a complicated judgment call, quite frankly. So, like I said, I think it's a little too late. I'm glad to see it start to change our politics here in this country. But I think more has to be done. More has to be done from a human rights standpoint. And I don't think that we're in any position as a country to, I don't think that we deserve to have, I'll be honest with you, I don't think that we deserve to have veto power at the UN. I think that we forsook that when we decided to turn a blind eye to genocide.
Absolutely. Agree 100%. We've got 2 callers, and we will not be taking more than these 2 callers because we're running short on time. Let's talk to Helen in Palm Harbor. Hi, Helen.
Hi, this is Helen. I totally disagree with you about the vaccine harm. The people doing the research back in 2000, after I saw a big evaluation of it, and they had the CDC of both ours and Europe, is wrong. They are doing the research. It's nepotism, and they have silenced people. I saw children before and after the MMR vaccine, and it was horrible. They have silenced them. They have bought them off, and it's too many too soon. I mean, my generation had maybe under 15 vaccines, okay? They now have like 40 vaccinations. It's too many too soon. And they had thimerosal. I had a child in 2000. I had a doctor educate me on the thimerosal and how it was dangerous. And we waited until they took it out. And if you look at the statistics of autism and the rise of autism and the amount of vaccines that they've been giving, it's gone up in numbers. So I totally disagree that vaccines are safe. They still have thimerosal in the flu vaccine, and that's a mercury preservative that they put in there. There's also aluminum and other things.
Okay.
Yes, it has its place, but I believe that it should be done in a different way, and I think you should have the choice. I had the mumps when I was younger. I survived it. I had the chicken pox. I watched them give chicken pox in Glen Cove, Long Island, to the whole community, and they still all had an outbreak of it. So, I just feel like it's become a money thing, and it's not based on the child's history. They're putting everybody in a box, and that's my point.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, Helen. And this seems to be a really hot topic, so we're going to do other shows. So let's talk to Carla now in Rolling Rock, North Carolina. Hi, Carla.
Hi there. It's blowing rock. The rock is blowing.
Blowing rock?
Yes, it's a little odd, but it's true.
Okay.
Anyway, I will say I have 2 things. One is, if we go back to where we were sitting in 2020, 2021, thank God we had the vaccine come along.
Yeah.
We were all in lockdown, and we may still be sitting in lockdown. I mean, come on, we needed something, and
Right.
it got our country back up and running. Number 2, Trump at the White House yesterday, talking about Epstein and the Democratic hoax,
Yeah.
mentioned that he had stopped 7 wars, and why aren't we talking about this? Excuse me, but what 7 wars was he speaking of?
Right. Well, yeah. We all want to know that. But yeah, I mean, Trump is a perpetual spin machine, and so it does not surprise me at all that in fact I'm surprised he hasn't talked about a Democratic hoax on the Epstein issue before, but he's doing it now and trying to do it hard. So
grasping at straws.
Yes.
Again.
All right. So thanks
All
so
right,
much
thank
for
you.
listening, Carla.
Sure thing.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay. So now we are at the end of the hour. Last thoughts, Maria? Oh, we didn't talk about the one thing we wanted to talk about. This is not about the Galactic Empire, though. The news that Cory Booker is engaged, and oh my gosh, the most scripted bunch of pictures from the engagement. You know, he's kneeling down with the ring, and her mouth is open so wide, it's got to be like the alien.
I Just Met You?
Yeah, like the alien on the Sigourney Weaver movie. Yeah, like that.
So, congratulations to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce on their engagement.
That was also a very photo-friendly shoot. Yeah.
I got nothing on Cory, right?
Mm.
Like, I just find it almost as odd as who's that senator from South Carolina that got engaged right before he ran for president?
Lindsey Graham?
No. Yeah, never.
400 years old.
Never. You know, I forget the guy's name.
Yeah.
But
so
anyway.
yeah, it seems handy in politics to have a spouse. So
yeah, beard or not.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you for listening to Surly Voices, and we are going to delve more into the world of vaccine versus non-vaccine. Donna, I hope you feel better. She took off the bonnet, so she must be feeling better.
I don't want to talk about vaccines anymore.
Oh, okay.
Right? Unless there's some new information, maybe we need to bring on someone from the public health department to talk to people and give them new information and just not have any callers during that. Have them text us and email us questions.
Oh, good idea.
So that we don't go off into the deep end with this stuff.
Yeah.
Because none of the things that the callers are saying, there's one thing that I heard about the additive besides
Thimerosal. Yeah.
We're going to talk about aluminum. We've got to talk about deodorants, right?
Yes.
Everybody in America is using it, and they've been proven to cause to be one of the components in people who have dementia and the age at which you get it, right? So I think that this calls for a subject matter expert because I am tired of the foolishness around this.
Okay, absolutely. I'm 100% on board with that. So I'll find somebody who can set us all
And in
straight.
the meantime, can we all just agree to wash our hands?
Yes, please. Please. Oh my gosh. If
y'all want to argue about vaccinations and stuff like that, that's okay. We're going to save that for subject matter experts. But it doesn't stop you from proper hygiene.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So thank you very much for listening. Please join us again next week on Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5.
And this is WMNF Tampa.
Now, I like dollars, I like diamonds, I like stunning, I like shining, I like $1 million deals. Where's my pen?